Hello, I'm Giuseppe, and this is Old Soul Essentials. I'm a bit adjacent to the main road, so hopefully the cars aren't too distracting. If they are, well then, thanks for being patient and bearing with me on that. I'm going to talk today about how to get through a hard breakup. So this isn't quite your average everyday applicable advice. This is obviously kind of specialized, but I think it's just as important. Anybody knows, most people know how tough a breakup can be. So I'm going to share pretty much anything and everything that I know about that will hopefully help you or someone you know uh, have a slightly easier time recovering from a breakup. As always, thank you for watching. Thanks for taking your time to be here with me. And I'm going to be relying heavily on notes today because I don't want to miss any point, and I've got a lot of them. I guess I'm just going to jump right in at this point. So, how to get through a hard breakup. Now, I guess it doesn't really matter if you're the one, if you're the dumpee or if you're the dumper. This is for anybody who is just having a really hard time. Some breakups aren't that bad and we bounce back pretty quick no matter what. Other times we really struggle, and that's an understatement. Myself personally, the the hardest thing I've ever had to go through in my life so far was a really devastating breakup. So I think this video today is pretty important. Here we go. Up your health game. Whatever you can do for your body and your mind, health-wise, anything and everything, embrace it. When it comes to getting through the breakup and making any attempts at expediting the process, our body and mind, whatever we can do, the attack should be, multi-pronged attack for healing from breakup. It's not, you don't just do one thing. But one of the biggest things is health. So eat better, eat healthier. And you don't have to do this forever, all the time. Granted, it's not going to hurt. But right now, focus on getting more nutrients. Eat more fruits and veggies. Eat less sugar, especially refined sugar, ultra-processed foods. Try to stay away from the McDonald's, the sodas. Get the salads going. Just eat healthier. Become a health nut for this time being. Feed your body the nutrients that it needs. If your body's feeling better, your mind's going to feel better too. There's also a lot of vitamins and supplements you can take. Multivitamin, at the very least, is good. But a lot of studies really support the fact that St. John's wort is one you can take that helps with mood. Also magnesium, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, vitamin D, and your omega-3 fatty acids. And ashwagandha is another supplement that is known to help with mood, stabilizing your mood. Along the lines of health is getting enough sleep. Now, you might be the type where the breakup's causing you to sleep too much. For me, I struggled to fall asleep. And when I did fall asleep, I would wake up really early in the morning with like a my veins would be coursing with cortisol, and I would just be jolted awake like hours before I would normally wake up. But as much as you possibly can, try to get a normal night's sleep, which on the minimum is like 7 hours. 8 to 9 hours is ideal. Your body needs sleep. Your mind needs sleep. That's when it does all its little internal repairings. Exercise. And a lot of this is no brainer, but I'm just breaking it down. These are all things that we forget or overlook. It's easy to just miss things, and I'm just here to remind you. So, exercise. Get your blood pumping at the very least. Get sweating. Do some cardio. Treadmill. Take a bike ride. Strength training is probably the most effective. You don't have to be a bodybuilder or like be bench pressing, you know, crazy amounts, but some strength training is very highly effective compared to cardio and other types. But at the very least, some cardio is good. You know, like a short jog or a long walk. Try to do it regularly every day. Otherwise, it's not really going to be as effective. Deep breaths. Now I'm going to be jumping around here, so like I said, bear with me. And maybe you can take notes through all of this. Literally everything I'm going to go over are all things that you should try. Believe me when I say I've been where you are right now, or if you know someone that is just in the deep down dark, just totally miserable, and basically fighting to get through the day, you can take notes or give them the link to this video, and hopefully there'll be one thing at least that might help them on this. So yeah, maybe take notes. Practicing gratitude is a major one. It's very hard to do. I know that when you're really suffering from heartbreak, it feels like the sun has gone out. Feels like every single day is gray and cloudy at best, and is just night all the time and pitch black at worst. And it's very hard to feel happy about anything, even the things you love the most. But still, at least try. At least try. Give it a shot. Go through the motion. If anything, it'll give you something to do. Practice gratitude. Look at all the things that you're glad about, things you're glad to have, or things you're thankful to be able to do, whether that's just having a body and all your limbs and appendages, 10 fingers, 10 toes, you're not paralyzed, you're not an amputee. Focus on all those things. Look at all the blessings that you have, even if they're really small. The fact that you have a bed to sleep in, a roof, access to drinking water, that a lot of the things that not everyone has, that people take for granted. Blessings you've forgotten about, or blessings you never knew you had. Spend time looking at those things. Talking about it to no end. Just talk and talk and talk to anybody that will listen. If you feel comfortable and you don't feel like you'll be embarrassed, months or years down the road, make a YouTube video just venting, or go on Reddit on our breakups and just make a post sharing your struggle. People will chime in and try to give you words of support. Purge your thoughts. Anyone, family, friends, even if you're telling the same story 5 times to the same person, it does help to just talk about it and get those thoughts out and express those feelings. Even if it doesn't feel like it's helping in the moment, it's you're chipping away at that stone, and it is going to help over time. So also you want to confront the reality. You never want to just completely shut out what's just happened and what situation you're in. You definitely want to confront the reality, face it head on, face the facts, focus on the pain, and at times embrace that pain. Let it, maybe even amplify it. Just, just let that pain come in. Be one with it, feel it, every little bit of it. Let the sadness take over. Don't fight it. Don't fight those unpleasant feelings all the time. When you feel angry or upset or just sad and depressed, and don't suppress those feelings. It takes a lot of internal energy, mental energy, spiritual energy to shove those feelings down if that's what you're trying to do. And it's like trying to push a beach ball or a balloon down underwater. It it just wants to come to the surface. And for you to keep it down there takes a lot of work just to hold it down there. So just let it come up. Let them run their course. The harder you feel them, the less they're going to be like knocking at your door, being like, hey, I'm right here, notice me. Once you notice them and acknowledge them, then they'll be like, okay, thanks for noticing me, and then they'll leave you alone for a little while. On that note, you don't want to prolong the unpleasant feelings or exacerbate them. Let them come, do their thing, but you don't want to like necessarily make them worse or stretch out that, if you're having that sad, those moments of like where you just want to feel sad, once it feels like it's kind of over, don't like extend it any longer than you need to. Cry. Don't be afraid to cry. Don't hold back from crying. If you need to, go somewhere where you can be alone and private and isolated and cry like there's no tomorrow. Ugly cry. Wail and just give yourself permission to cry as hard as your body is naturally wanting to cry. I don't know anybody that doesn't feel a little bit better once the crying's over and they've stopped. Listen to sad songs. Sometimes it's not so bad to just trigger yourself. If you're not crying, maybe listen to a sad song and make yourself cry. But then once you've had your cry, move on. Also, as good as it is to confront what's going on, you do need to give yourself some breaks. You don't want to just be focusing on that 100% of the time, all the time. You're gonna get bogged down. It is good to take breaks. So sometimes, of course, but not all the time, sometimes you do want to distract yourself. However possible. Watch movies, new movies, old movies, funny, scary, whatever's going to hold your attention, even in the slightest. Watch reruns of all your favorite comfort shows, your security shows, those shows that you can just go back to and you always love. Ideally, shows that you don't associate with your ex. And I'm sure you have shows that you liked and were super into before you were with that person. Watch those shows. For me, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Not only was it funny, but I had been a fan of it a long time before I had met the person I had a horrible breakup with. And I could just watch that show over and over and over, and it would take me out of my head a little bit. It would distract me a little bit. Watch YouTube, anything, documentaries, National Geographic stuff, uh, anything at all. Just watch videos of stuff. Do your usual hobbies. You pretty much want to do everything you normally do, even if you don't feel like doing anything, which is oftentimes the case. You don't feel like doing anything, but the worst thing you can do is do nothing. You kind of just have to grit your teeth, suck it up, grin and bear it, and go about your normal life. Live your life the way you would if you weren't going through a hard breakup. So whatever your favorite hobbies are, playing disc golf, doing sports, shooting hoops, doodling, playing your guitar, crafting, whatever it is, engross yourself in some hobbies, things that require you to focus. It's going to, where you have to concentrate on something that's going to help distract you from the misery that is, going on with your life. Listen, don't just listen to sad songs too. Listen to your favorite songs. Listen to upbeat, positive songs. Music is super therapeutic for anybody. Up your indulgence game. Now, as good as it is to be extra healthy and eat healthy foods within reason, in moderation, give yourself permission to just spoil yourself and treat yourself, right down to junk food, sweets, ice cream, cake, potato chips, chocolate. Really just treat yourself, pamper yourself, spoil yourself. It's all, those are all forms of just being extra nice and kind to yourself and giving yourself a break. And like I said, indulging a little bit. Those things have some therapeutic value as well. But you do have to be careful. You don't want to go too crazy. And along that same line, a few drinks is good here and there. Make a cocktail, make a stiff cocktail, have a couple, smoke a joint. If you're already a cigarette smoker, maybe have a few extra butts. But if you're not a smoker, I wouldn't recommend cigarettes. I personally have never really been a smoker, but I did buy a few packs here and there, and I'd smoke a couple a day, which was a lot for me, but it did help. It was just one little thing to like take me away from the reality. Go somewhere and isolate yourself outside or in your room or wherever, where you can be totally private and yell and scream. I'm talking like primal, at the top of your lungs, whatever feels right. Just one big long scream, or spend 10 minutes just yelling and shouting over and over. Swear, say all kinds of swears. There's an episode of Mythbusters where they prove that swear words are actually more cathartic and therapeutic when dealing with pain than saying any other word. Throw rocks. Throw rocks at an abandoned building or at a cliffside, or just throw them at the ground. Find a stick, nice strong stick, and break it up on against a tree or smack the ground. Just get some aggression out. Be a little bit violent in a way that's not going to hurt you or anyone else or damage some property. Don't be afraid to just slam some shit, break some shit. If you have some shit that's okay to break. Go to the coast, whether it's the beach or a river or a lake or a pond. Go by a body of water and just sit by the water, watch the ripples, watch the waves, watch the water flowing, and just sit there and take in that sight and the sound, the peacefulness of that, it will help. Likewise, just being out in nature in general. Go out where there's trees. Go out where there's birds. Those things never have a bad effect on the mind and the soul. If you have a place where you can go and make a little campfire, or even better, a raging bonfire, just sitting and watching fire, it's like some ancient primal thing. Like, it's something about just sitting and watching fire is, it really works well to like take ourselves out of our heads and put ourselves in the moment and kind of just not think about anything. Just watch the flames. Writing. Write your thoughts down, little notes here and there. Just write a thought. Take 30 seconds and just little blips and blurbs. Or sit down for a half hour, an hour, and write a long thing. Do some journaling, some conscious stream writing. Write a letter to your past self. Write a letter to your future self. Write a letter to yourself right now. You can write a letter to your ex, but don't give it to them. Don't ever give it to them. Just write a letter that you sincerely, it's for them, to them. Just don't give it to them. And you never have to read it again. It's just getting that out of you, getting those thoughts and expressions and feelings out. Write poetry. Watch videos about people who have gone through breakups. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube about people giving advice on how to do this, what to do, or just sharing their story. Any and all those can be good to watch. When you see and hear people who are experiencing the same thing, you don't feel quite so alone. You can relate to them, and it does help, usually helps a little bit, even if not a lot. And like I said, if you're multi-pronged attack, if you can manage to do all these things, all of them together, each thing is going to help just a little bit, and all of them together will help quite a lot. Like I said, you can go on Reddit, and even if you don't post anything, you can, for me, when I was going through it, just reading other people's, I did plenty of my own posts, but just reading other people's posts about what they're struggling with was just one other thing to take me out of my own head and see what someone else is going through. And it's like, okay, I'm not the only one. And 9 times out of 10, I would feel compelled to leave a comment, some words of support for them, or just say, hey, I'm going through this too. And I understand. I know what it feels like. Laughter. Laughter is always the best medicine, no matter what, whether it's a physical ailment or a spiritual, mental, emotional ailment. Laughter is the best medicine. And I know how hard it is to be able to laugh when you are absolutely miserable and totally heartbroken and the world is ending. But it's not impossible. And you won't laugh if you don't put yourself in the position of laughing. So whatever your thing is, just exhaust all options. Watch The Three Stooges, watch Seinfeld, watch funny sitcoms, watch some stand-up, watch pranks on YouTube, fails, funny cats, funny animals, anything at all. Look for things that make you laugh, and try to put yourself in a position where even if you just get a couple little chuckles, that's better than nothing. Try listening to, and these are all things you can try, not everything is gonna work perfectly. Some things might work better than others, but you're having a hard time, to say the least. and you're desperate and you're willing to try anything. If you're like me, I was. And it can be hard to bring yourself to do it, but it's not impossible. So yeah, try listening to like Zen stuff. There's all kinds of like Zen philosophy lectures, videos out there. I mean, YouTube is a huge resource. Half the stuff that I'm talking about you can find on YouTube. Alan Watts is one particular guy who is just Zen, talk about Zen master. He's not only is his voice, his timbre is kind of, ASMR. It's literally just nice to listen to his voice and the way he talks. He also is very good at articulating and imparting Zen philosophies in a way that are easy to understand and grasp. And the whole Zen thing is kind of like, just if I had to sum up Zen in like one sentence, it's kind of just like being cool and going with the flow, taking things as they come, easy go. Try new things, try a new wardrobe, new hairdo, new hobby, try new foods, go out to a new restaurant, step outside of your comfort zone, not in such a way that's going to bring you a lot of anxiety, but definitely experiment and explore things that you have never tried before that might be a little you might be a little nervous about at first, but once just experiment, step outside your comfort zone. It forces it it's usually a good catalyst for us to grow and find strengths and powers that we didn't always know we had. Spend time with friends. I'm going to check on my time here. And we're back. Continuing on. So yeah, last thing I said was try new things, step outside your comfort zone, spend time with friends, spend time with family, even if you don't want to. When I was in the middle of it, I really could care less about spending time with anybody. And when I did spend time with people, even my closest friends, my closest family, I didn't feel it didn't feel like it was doing anything for me. I wasn't resonating with anybody. I didn't feel like I was having fun. I could really care less. I was apathetic. But I did it anyway because deep down somehow I knew that like this is good for me to be around some people that care about me, people that I could talk to and just hang out with. Even if we're not talking, we're just hanging out watching a show together or listening to tunes together. Just being in the presence of other people is not going to hurt. Granted, I did spend a lot of time alone. And me personally, I'm the type of person that thrives in my own company. Ever since I was a little kid, I've found it very easy to be on my own. I'm very comfortable being alone, and not just being alone, but being alone for long periods of time. But I knew that while I was going through this recovery, that it probably wasn't the best idea to be alone all the time. So I made sure to supplement here and there with spending time with my good friends and family. Like I said, even if you don't want to, force yourself to do it. And like I just said, allow yourself to isolate. Don't don't do that 100% of the time, but give yourself some chances and some opportunities to be alone, 100% alone. It forces you to be with yourself, allows you to just think in ways that you can't when you're in the presence of other people. And also when you're by yourself, you don't feel like you have to mask or that you have to put on, put on a smile. You can, when you're by yourself, if you feel like just slouching over and having a sad face, you can do that and you don't have to worry about people staring at you. And I think we do need those moments of being able to not have to worry about what people are thinking or, trying to keep up appearances. I think I also, yeah, other things you can watch on YouTube is, don't take this the wrong way, but watching videos of people who are much more misfortunate than you. So it could be those channels where it's all stories of like life and death survival situations where someone was just had this horrible accident and they had to fight for their lives to get out and they barely survived. Tragic, traumatizing situations that people go through. Hearing their stories can help you feel a little better about what you're going through, because even though what you're going through really sucks, at least you're not fighting for your life or like on the brink of starvation and so on. Likewise, people and channels out there that focus on people with diseases, with disabilities, with various disorders, handicaps, things like that, amputees, people with paralysis. There's that channel out there, Special Books by Special Kids, and the whole thing is just he interviews and shares people's stories or lets people share their stories about just extreme levels of adversity and uh, lives, people living lives that are chronically challenging, and a lot of times there's no hope for them changing it. But when you see the resilience in these people and the brightness that a lot of those people have, despite how downright awful other parts of their life is, it helps put things into perspective for anybody. It's like if you can walk and talk, you're not paralyzed, you can, poop and pee and feed yourself, dress yourself, you got a bed and you don't have seizures and so on, so on, so on, then life isn't that bad. That's not to say your pain is not real. It's not to invalidate the struggle that you're going through, but it can, the juxtaposition might help you just feel a little bit better that, you know, it's a reminder that things really could be a lot worse and that there are, despite the crap that you have on your plate right now, it could still be worse. And there's people out there that might be happy to trade the life they have with your life, even as miserable as you are right now. Visit animals. If you don't have pets, if you don't already have pets, if you do have pets, spend time loving on them and getting love from them. If you don't have pets, go to an animal shelter. Most shelters like Humane Society, you can literally just go there and spend time with the animals, give them some love, pet them, cuddle with them, cats, whatever you like, dogs, cats. The unconditional love that dogs bring and the cuteness of cats, especially friendly cats, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt. Go out and get a professional massage. Don't just have if you can't afford a professional massage, then maybe ask your friend or uncle or mom, your son, whoever's around that's willing to give you a little back rub or foot massage. Say, hey, can you just rub my shoulders? Or it's not going to hurt. Like I said, if you can afford it, go out and get a full-on professional massage. Guys, Go to the masseuse, maybe. Girls, go do the full spa treatment. Go get a mani-pedi and sit in the hot tub. Even if you're, despite the broken heart, even if you don't think you're gonna have fun, you're miserable. You're in the middle of it right now. Do all these things despite the fact that you're convinced that they're not going to do shit for you. Do them anyway. Deep breaths. That's one you can do constantly, every day, all day. When we get tense, when we get nervous, our breathing tends to get shallow. We stop taking deep breaths. And that can last all day. That can last days and weeks. Stop and just try to try to relax. I know that's a conundrum, but let yourself relax. Just take a deep breath, let it out. Not just let it out, but push it all out. And before you take the next breath, wait a second. Take a deep breath, hold it for a second, let it out, and stay in that moment of no breath for just a moment. And then that way, if you pause before your next breath, you're that much more hungry and thirsty for a new breath, and it feels that much better when you take it in. Do some sighing in addition to the deep breaths. Don't just take deep breaths, but sigh. It might it might seem silly, but I guarantee you it's going to help a little bit. Humming. There's a lot of studies and evidence that's shown that humming, there's some sort of gaseous, actual physiological thing that's happening when you hum that is beneficial to your body, whatever, and also to your mind. Singing. Whether you're singing along to a song or just singing, making up your own song, do some singing. Try it out. Keep doing, I think I said this, keep doing all the things, all the things you normally enjoy. Every single thing that you like doing. Don't stop doing those things. Go to the beach. Go to an open mic. Go to karaoke. Even if you don't get up and sing, karaoke can be quite entertaining if you're just sitting back and watching other people make fools of themselves, or the people that get up there and kill it. Reading novels, or reading short stories, or if reading novels and books isn't your thing, read news articles or read reference books or informative, learn something. Just any reading. Reading is really good to take you out of your head. Video games. Video games can be, that's one of the pinnacles of escapism. Also, making art. Even if you're not an artist, do some scribble art. Just literally take a pen and scribble on the page. Get different colored markers and just scribble. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Just allow yourself to be silly with doodling. Take some paint and do some splatter stuff. Like I said, even if you're not an artist, try this out. It's not gonna hurt. What do you got to lose? Do some scribbling, some painting, some abstract art. Just put some colors on paper. Do paper mache, do origami. Get creative. There is a long list of different art forms that you can try, especially if you've never tried them. You can do knitting, you can do crochet, macrame. I mean, the amount of art forms that are out there is ridiculous. Photography. If you're a photographer, get out there and get shooting. If you're not a photographer, get out there and get shooting. Taking pictures, I think, once you start doing it, anybody, even if they've never done any photography before, it's so easy to do. Nowadays, it's free to do because you don't have to buy film and pay for developing. Everyone's got one on their phone. Get out there and just take pictures of anything or take videos, make little short videos and clips. If you don't have a YouTube channel, maybe now's the time to start. Even if no one watches, you and your friends and family can go back and watch and whatever. Remind yourself that this experience of pain and suffering, of misery, of complete and total darkness, it will, I'm telling you, and anybody that knows, anybody that's been through it, anybody that knows someone that's been through it, will tell you, bar none, it will lead to you being stronger. It will lead to you being wiser. It will lead, and that's when you're stronger in your heart, when you're more resilient in your mind, because you've experienced something difficult and you got through it and you healed, you're going to be stronger, and you're going to be wiser. And to be stronger and wiser, that's a stronger, wiser you is a better version of you than the previous version of you. You'll know what to look out for. You'll be in the position, like so many other people, including myself, to where if you encounter someone that is struggling with a breakup, you're going to be able to have some valuable things to share with them, even if it's just the account of your experience. You can be like, hey, this is what happened to me, and this is what I felt, and you can tell them your story and let them know that they're not the first, they're not the last, they're not the only one. You went through it. Most people go through it, and most people come out the other side of it better. So when you're in the middle of it, just remind yourself of that. Remind yourself that this pain, this difficult experience has a purpose. It is going to be useful. It's going to become a future tool. The pain is not in vain. This one's a little tricky, but it's where there's a will, there's a way. Practice acceptance. The more you can accept, the better you can be at just being okay with the fact that it happened and it's happening. It's going to make it a little easier. It's still going to suck, but it's not going to suck as much as if you're just constantly focusing on, oh, I wish this hadn't happened. I hate this. And just being super resistant to it and fighting the fact that this is your reality now. As much as you can, try to embrace it. Be like, this is where I'm at now. This is where I'm at right now. This is my reality. Nothing I can do to change this. So why fight it? Why kick and scream and throw a tantrum internally inside my head? That's just going to make it worse. It's going to make it harder on yourself. So the more graceful that you can be, it's going to make life a little bit easier. Also, remind yourself that you made it through yesterday. So if you made it through yesterday, you can make it through today. And if you made it through yesterday and you can make it through today, you can make it through tomorrow. And just keep taking it one day at a time. And every single day that you go through is just, it's more proof that you can handle it. Also, be aware that time is the most effective thing. This is the hardest one, I think. Out of all the things we can do, time is the most effective. But it's kind of the hardest one because we have to be patient. We have to wait. We cannot really make it go any faster. I mean, we can help expedite it a little bit, I think, by doing all these things. But at the end of the day, there is X amount of time that you have to be in this phase before you really start to climb out of it and get to that point where it's like behind you now and you're feeling back to your old self. But being patient is mandatory. So be aware of that when you're in the middle of it. That just remember, time time is the only thing. And even though healing isn't linear, especially with heartbreak, you might feel pretty good. So my phone died, and by the time it was charged, it's pitch black outside. So here we are back in my bedroom. Continuing on where I left off was healing is not linear, particularly with physical healing is pretty steady trend, but emotional, spiritual healing is pretty much never linear. It's like one day you're here, the next day you're here, the next day you're here, the next day you're here, then you're here, and it's all over the map. There's peaks and valleys, but if you zoom way out, if you graphed this out and you zoomed way out on looked at things, despite the little peaks and valleys, there is an upward trend. So I was talking about how you got to be giving yourself credit for the fact that you're getting through each day, that you're getting out of bed in the morning, despite not wanting to even be alive or be awake. Be proud of the fact that you're still here. Be proud of the fact that you're still going. There's it's no secret that extreme cases of heartbreak sometimes kills people, whether they die of broken heart syndrome, which is a real thing, or whether they check out on their own, which is also a very real thing. Plenty of people, fully well adjusted, great people, have experienced breakups and heartbreak that is just so hard on them that not only do they consider checking out, but they actually do it. There's something about heartbreak that it's very common, it's very prevalent, and most people don't get hit too hard by it, but plenty of people do struggle like there's no tomorrow when they're going through a heartbreak. And then some people are literally fighting for their life. And when most people are having those thoughts of maybe being done with all this, done with life, it's almost never because they don't want to live. It's very rarely because they don't like life or they don't like living. It's because they don't want to be feeling the pain that they're feeling. They don't want to be struggling anymore. They don't want to be they want to be done waking up every single day and being sad throughout the whole day and being in pain. It it can be really it's an understatement to say that really rough breakup can be the most devastating thing a person can ever go through. And myself personally, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but yeah, the worst breakup that I ever went through was also the hardest experience of my life so far. I've gone through a lot of hard things in my life, and somehow this super harsh breakup was, yeah, it was the hardest thing I've ever had to go through. And it didn't pass quickly. It took me a long time. To be specific, it took me a good couple of years before I actually started to like feel normal again. I mean, I noticed little improvements here and there after like the first year or so, first year and a half, but barely at all. Safe to say, for the first year and a half, I was a complete wreck. And then by like the 2 year mark, I noticed some fairly significant improvements. And now it's been about 3 years. And for the most part, I'm pretty much back to my old self. I thought it would never happen. I was fairly convinced that, not fully convinced, but damn near convinced that I wasn't ever going to come out of it. And if I did come out of it, it wouldn't be like all the way. Anyway, healing is not linear with breakups. So just remember that. Remember that one day might be all right and the next day not so good, and that can fluctuate wildly from days to weeks, months, and years. However, the point I'm trying to make here is that in the grand scheme of all this, essentially every single day that you are going through this phase, each day that goes by, you're getting closer to the end of it. Going through, and this could be true of any emotionally traumatic phase, or, depression, or just hard time, slump, whatever it is we're going through in our lives. It's like a tunnel, dark tunnel. Before you go into the tunnel, you're in the sunlight and everything's great. But then once you enter the tunnel, you're in complete and total darkness. And at the very beginning, that's when you have the longest to go. That light at the end of the tunnel is so far away you can't even see it. But it's there. And if you keep going, you will get through it. And that's another point to make, is that the only way out is through. And that's true of any bad situation. The only way out is through. There's no shortcuts. You can't go around, you can't go over, you can't go under. You can't skip it. The only way out is straight up the middle. But yeah, once you are in that tunnel, once you've entered, when it first happens, that's the worst part, because that's when you have the longest to go. But if you just keep going, progress is always being made. Like I said, every single day that goes by, you're that much closer. Might not feel like you're getting anywhere, especially when you're especially if the tunnel's a really long one. And if it's a horrible breakup, it's a real long tunnel. And you don't even see the light at the end until you're past like the halfway point. So the majority of the time that you're going through this tunnel, you can't see the progress that you're making. You can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel. You can't even see that it's getting closer until you're almost out of it. And the key is to just not give up. You just keep going. So imagine if you were a blind person sawing a 2x4, or you're just not blind, but you're in pitch black and you're trying to saw through a piece of wood, 2x4 or 4x4. You have no idea how close you are to getting to having that piece of wood be cut off. You're sawing and sawing, and all the while, you're making progress. The saw blade is slowly working its way through the piece of wood. But since you can't see the progress that's being made, you have no reference. You have no clue how close you are to the end. And that's unfortunately that's just a shitty reality, is that for a long duration you don't have any there's no like incentive. There's no like, oh, you're almost there. It's like, no, you just have to keep going. And then next thing you know, you finally that one last stroke and you've cut the piece of wood. But if you stop halfway through sawing, you're like, I just can't do this. I have no clue if I'm even getting through. I don't know how much farther I have to go. I'm so tired of doing this. If you stop, you're never going to cut that piece of wood. Same thing, you're in the tunnel. If you stop in the middle of the tunnel, then you're just going to be in the tunnel. It's in the darkness and you're not stuck. You can get out if you keep going again. And you get the idea. You just have to keep going. Just keep on going, keep on going. For the longest time, it's not going to feel like you're getting anywhere. Believe me, I know. I really do know. And eventually, you will get to a point where you start to see that light way off in the distance. And that'll give you a little bit more hope. And once you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, you just keep going and it gets closer and closer. And eventually, you come out. Like I said, time. There's X amount of time you got to wait, and that's mandatory. You know, don't beat yourself up. Being in that tunnel is is going through the recovery process, going through the healing. So before you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, like I said, just be aware. Keep reminding yourself that every single day that goes by, you're getting closer to the end. And one day, this will be behind you. This will be over. You will feel better. It's gonna happen. It's bound to happen. There's no way it can't not happen. However, with that said, for some people, particularly you sentimental people, you nostalgic people, I guess, like I'm one of those people. Uh, I don't know how much it has to do with astrology or not, but I am a Pisces, and Pisces are known for being very emotional and never letting go and never forgetting and being overly sentimental and reminiscent. And the point I'm trying to make is even after you heal from something, even after you've moved on and let something go, to varying degree depending on who you are, some people still have sentiments that never go away. Or another way to put it, just to be totally honest, is that there's that wound that you had, even though it's healed, it may still bother you a little bit. It may never be, completely healed, so to speak, even after you've moved on. Kind of like, you ever seen Lord of the Rings, when Frodo gets stabbed by the Morgul blade, and Elrond fixes him up and he heals and he's back to normal, but Gandalf makes a comment, or somebody makes a comment, that he will carry that wound for the rest of his life. And there's truth to that with breakups and any emotional trauma or wounds that we experience, that even once it's healed, sometimes there's just a little tenderness on that spot. It might stings, sometimes when you have a certain thought, or if the humidity or the barometric pressure, fluctuates just right. It's like a person with, a bad joint or bone injury. It's like it's healed, but it'll flare up, when it starts to rain. You get the idea. So just keep going. Don't give up. I know it's cliche, but it's true. And like I said, multi-pronged attack. I can't stress enough how valuable every single one of these things is, especially when you combine them all together. And there's even other things. I know there's other things that I either forgot or don't even know about, that aren't really on this list, that you could go find that are out there. Extra little methods and techniques for you to implement in your recovery protocol and strategy. This was a long one, but I don't care. This is a pretty important thing. So many people go through breakups and then they want to feel better instantly, and there's no such thing as that, but you can mitigate some of the pain. You can expedite a little bit by doing a lot of these things. And I'll try my best to do a brief recap here. If you've watched this whole thing, maybe that means that you are the person going through a god awful breakup, and I empathize with that 1,000%. And that's a huge part of why I'm making this video. I don't know if there's a video quite like this on YouTube. There's a lot of advice tips videos on, what to do after a breakup. There might be some like this, but I don't know if there's any that are quite so comprehensive and thorough as this, with all the different suggestions that I'm throwing out there at you. So I'm going to check my time. Okay. Pardon my technical difficulty with the scenery switch. So health, exercise, eat better, sleep as much as you can. Don't be like overly optimistic, but try to focus on good things. Keep your thoughts fairly positive. Try to have an optimistic attitude. Talk and talk and talk and talk and talk to whoever will listen. Vent. Whoever's willing to be your sounding board. Ask for advice. Ask your friends their opinions. Talk about it. Have conversations about it. Confront it. Face it head on. Don't ignore your feelings as they come up. Don't suppress your feelings. Really sit with the pain. Make friends with it. But don't do that. Don't only do that. Give yourself some breaks here and there so you don't get burnt out, and totally run with distractions. Occasionally. Escapism, uh, video games, movies, shows, anything that helps distract you. Distractions help a lot. Like I said, one of the biggest things is time. You just have to wait and let time go by. But while we're going through it, we're not, we're in pain. We're not feeling good. And if we can distract ourselves from that pain, from the reality, if for but a moment, that just helps pass the time with a little less pain. And just go back and forth from confronting it all head on to taking a pause from that and totally ignoring it for a moment and just distracting yourself and getting an escape. Up your indulgence game, eat ice cream, all the stuff you see on cliche movie moments, just eat a pint of Ben and Jerry's if it makes you feel good. Veg out and be a couch potato and eat a whole bag of Doritos and do nothing all day. Go and isolate and scream and yell and jump and kick the dirt and throw rocks at trees or throw rocks in the water, break some sticks. If you have some stupid things that you can throw away that you don't care about, it can feel good to just break something. Go out in nature, go to where there's water, watch the water, listen to the water, listen to the birds, go be near trees, go for a hike, a nature walk, sit by a fire if you can manage. The bigger the fire, the better. Write, write your thoughts, your feelings, questions, write anything, journal, poems, write a letter to yourself, write a letter to your ex, but don't give it to them. Write poetry and go to poetry open mics, share your poetry. Watch videos about people who are less fortunate, people that are going through much worse things or have gone through worse things, survival stories, stories about severe tragedies and trauma. It's not the most uplifting thing to watch, but it will help put things into perspective relative to what you're going through. Not that what you're feeling isn't awful. However, by comparison to other things that other people have gone through or that you could be going through that you're not going through, that's something that you know, you can take solace in the fact that you're not in some desert somewhere hundreds of miles from civilization and no water, and you get the idea. Watch anything funny, read anything funny, comics, whatever gets you laughing. Calvin and Hobbes, Garfield, watch The Simpsons, watch Family Guy, watch pranks and fails and funny cats, whatever. Try listening to any Zen stuff, Buddhism stuff, Taoism stuff. Alan Watts talks are kind of nice to listen to. I utilize those a lot. Try new things, a new wardrobe, new hairdo, new hobby. Try new foods, go to a new restaurant. Step outside your comfort zone just a little bit. Not so much that you're giving yourself overwhelming anxiety, but explore and experiment with things you've never done before. The variety and the freshness of new experiences will will bring you into just bring you further along in life. It's another way to pass the time. Spend time with friends and family, even if you don't want to. Just do it a little bit. Allow yourself to isolate and just be alone. Spend some time alone. Don't always be around other people because then you might have to feel like you always have to mask or hide what you're really feeling or pretend like you're having a good time. When you're completely by yourself, you don't have to worry about how you look or who sees you or what they're thinking. And you want to be able to have some moments where you can just have a frown on your face or just not be seen. Watch YouTube channels about this is along the lines of people going through tragedies or survival situations, but also people with disorders, disabilities, diseases, handicaps. I'm not joking. Look look at the people that are out there that have horrible things that they have to live with, and oftentimes permanent things that they'll never be able to change. That they're just, that's their life now. And like someone who has schizophrenia, or people with those weird, crazy, just sad, awful diseases, and seeing how bad that is, once again, it can make you feel a little bit better about your situation, even if it doesn't get rid of your pain. It might make you feel a little bit better about how good you still have it, despite how crappy you feel right now. The other thing is, you can take inspiration and motivation from seeing these people with such awful conditions, yet they are still light. They still have a glint in their eye. They still have a spark in their spirit. Spend time with animals, especially dogs. The unconditional love, there's very little compares, not much compares to the love of a dog and the cuteness of a friendly cat. Get a professional massage. Go get acupuncture. I've left out a couple things, I guess. Try acupuncture. There is, it's not all just, make believe stuff. There is actual physiological science to things like acupuncture, as well as Reiki. Just try these things. You're not really got nothing to lose by doing them. Also, along the lines of health, I don't know if I mentioned it, but if you can afford it, even if it's just a few sessions, get some therapy, meet with a therapist or a counselor, or anyone or anything that is as close as you can get to that. If you can't afford that at all, look for, look for options as far as, like a social worker or something along those lines. Deep breaths and sighing. Sigh, do some good sighs, hum, sing songs off the top of your head, or sing along to music that's playing. Keep doing everything that you would normally do, even if you weren't going through this hard time. Whatever fun things you like doing, keep doing them, even if they don't feel fun. Just keep doing them. I'm serious. Remind yourself that there is, it's not going to be happen right now, but later on, looking back, you're going to see and feel and know that you got something out of this experience. It served a purpose. Try to be more accepting. Try to be more graceful, and not kick and scream and not resist the situation you're in. Try not to wish so much that things weren't the way they are. Acceptance. It is what it is. Remind yourself you made it through yesterday, and you can make it through. You made it through yesterday, so you can make it through today, and that means you can make it through tomorrow. And that's all you need. You got through yesterday, you can get through today, you can get through tomorrow. What else is there besides yesterday, today, and tomorrow? That's, all we got is now, but now kind of extends into yesterday and tomorrow. Be aware that time is the biggest thing that's really going to help, and there is a certain amount of time that has to pass, and there's really nothing you can do about it. You can shorten it a little bit, but only so much. So patience. Patience is paramount, and there's nothing you can do about it. So just settle in. Try to get comfortable in your suffering. My great grandmother used to have saying, an ironic saying, she'd be like, oh, I'm suffering comfortably. So explore tarot. Get a deck. They're not expensive. It's easy to do. Plenty of resources online that tell you how to do it. But don't get addicted. Don't get obsessed. But yeah, try out tarot. Try out runes. And maybe even try I Ching. And be proud that you're still here, that you're still going. Give yourself credit for that. Give yourself credit for getting out of bed each day. And don't beat yourself up. Take accountability for whatever role you played, for whatever part you played in the situation that you're in now, but don't give yourself a hard time. Don't, you're human and everybody makes mistakes. And we're all trying to do, so long as we're not a narcissist or a sociopath, we are all legitimately empathetic people. We're not out to hurt anybody, and we're all trying to just do the best that we can, and we're operating, making the best decisions with the knowledge we have at the time. So however you messed up, it's okay. Everybody messes up. You learn from it, you take a lesson from it, and don't beat yourself up. You're down as frick right now. The last thing you want to do is put yourself even more down by beating yourself up. And I guess that's it. Be kind to yourself, and you're going to get through this. I promise you. You are going to get through this. Like I said, you made it through yesterday. You're making it through today. You're going to make it through tomorrow. And each day, each painful day, you're getting closer to those pain-free days. They're coming. If you are not the person going through a breakup, share this with somebody that you know that is struggling after a hard breakup. I think there's something in here that might help them. So I guess that's it. Thank you for watching. I guess just for shits and giggles, I'll do the little test here. If you made it this far to the end of the video, put a little emoji of, let's do the emoji of the sunglasses dude, because you're playing it cool. You're gonna be zen, you're playing it cool. Drop a little sunglasses smiley face guy in the comments. Or don't. Either way. I guess this is goodbye for now. Thank you for watching. Namaste and much love to you. Hang in there. Tomorrow will bring you maybe some bad things, but it'll probably bring you some good things too, and that's every day. And whatever's good may not actually be good, and the bad things often are good things. You know the story of the Zen farmer, my last video. It's good and bad. It's all in how we look at it, all in how we feel about it, and also kind of contingent upon one thing that happens before something and then the thing that happens after. This thing can be good, and then this thing happens and makes this good, and vice versa. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you again so much for being here virtually with me. So, maybe tune in next time for some Old Soul Essentials. Bye.